Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakareshu Sarvada Shri Ganeshaya Namaha Om Ganganapate Namaha Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurur Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sarva Mangala Mangalle Shive Sarvartha Sadike Sharanye Trambake Gauri Narayani Namostute Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Mahalakshmi Rupena Samstita Namaste 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 Namo Namaha Om Shri Swami Narayana Namaha Shri Lakshmi Narayana Namaha Shri Nar Narayana Namaha Shri Krishna Narayana Namaha Shri Badri Narayana Namaha Shri Satya Narayana Namaha Shri Rama Narayana Namaha Om Shri Shiva Narayana Namaha Om Namo Narayanaya Om Namo Narayanaya Om Namo Narayanaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya Om Namah Shivaya Om Trambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarkamiva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyamamritat Shri Hanumate Namaha Jai Hanuman Gyana Gunasagar Jai Kapesate Uloko Ujagar Ramaduta Atulita Baladhama Anjani Putra Pavana Sutta Nama Shri Hanumate Namaha Om Namo Hanumate Bhayabhanjanaya Sukham Kuru Hat Swaha. Welcome to Nitya Satsang. Today is the 1st of February 2023. We are blessed by the grace of so many sages and Adi Jagat Guru Shankaracharya Ji, Bhagwan Shankar, Mata Parvati, all the great sages, to be able to contemplate on Shri Vivek Chudamani. I want to offer my prostrations to all the great saints in the past, present, future, and to the Supreme Parabrahma Paramatma residing in the heart of every being. With that prarthana, we are continuing our exploration of the three avasthas, the Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti avastha, and in connection to that, to better understand the concepts of Vivek Chudamani, the concepts of Advait Vedanta particularly, which are actually needed to be very clear in our minds, so that even the further developments in Vedanta can even be understood. Those are more tricky and more difficult to understand. Things like Achinta Bheda Bhed or Vishishtadvait is much more, it's a little bit more difficult even than Advait Vedanta just to conceptually understand. But practically it's not that hard actually. It's quite straightforward. So along those lines, we are examining the Swapna Avastha. The Swapna Avastha is a most mysterious phenomena, because there is a world, the dream world is created. Now, the dream world has still the dreamer. This is what Vedanta is teaching. The dreamer is the one who is dreaming the dream world. All right. Well, okay. That is the realization that the dream world is unreal. While one is in the dream world, one is completely lost in that. Yeah, at least in the waking state, we may not be as lost in the waking state. At least we have, some sense of volition, free will. We can meditate. We can do so many things. We can try to stabilize the mind, and so many things we can do while we're awake. What can we do while we're dreaming? It's like we're just stuck in a hallucination which we can't get out of, and that's exactly what it is. It is a REM hallucination, and it is the result of ajnan. It is the result of vasanas, of fears, agitations, subconscious mind. It is the result of unresolved conflict. It is the result of so much storage of material inside the mind that the Jivatma is just absolutely doomed inside there. There's no other word for it. You see, so Swapna Avastha is a massive jail. It's a prison. It's a bigger jail than the Jagrat Avastha. Because one is cut off. The brain is, it cuts off the connection with the body in many ways. So the person doesn't act out what is going on at that time unless there's a disorder. And that Swapna Avastha is massive amount of energy used. Massive. I mean, if that energy was just kept intact without creating all those crazy dreams, without creating any dreams of any kind, that is called Yog Nidra, and that is a state of near enlightenment, where the only dream that would come is not a dream. It is Bhagwan coming to you, maybe in the form of a dream, but it's not a dream. It's a Turiya Avastha. It is beyond that. So is there need to dream? From a yogic point of view, there is zero need to dream. The yogis discovered that long time ago. The neuroscientists would not agree with that. They said, no, you have to dream, otherwise you'll go crazy. Of course you'll go crazy because you're already crazy. There's no question of going crazy. We're already creating so much chaos in our lives. That's why the Swapna Avastha is needed to try to deal with that somehow. Otherwise, the person will go mad. But the yogic life, the Vedic life that was there in ancient times, life where children are brought up with Veda mantras and beautiful environments and very, very high-level quality ethics and values. The mind is so pristine, so clear, so pure. It is that kind of life was there at one point. The people have tried to create that in this world. It's nearly impossible. It's not impossible, but it's so difficult now with all the advent of hyperstimulation and instantaneous gratifications and all these things that are going on. That kind of clarity and pristine state of the mind is very rare. Can it be done? Yes. One has to have viveka. We talked about it already several times. And on that basis, one can decide to clean up the Swapna Avastha, to stabilize it, to purify it, etc. And to have the best quality experience within it. See, initially the quality of the dreams changes. If one is beginning to evolve spiritually, the nighttime experience is good, but it is still an experience. Eventually, as one progresses further towards the Atma, as the energies remain in sync, energy wastage stops completely, more Manan Chintan Nididhasana, as Shankaracharya Ji is saying, Manana, Dhyana, Nididhasana, Chintana, as this continues, and connection through bhakti with Ishta Devata, as that continues further, the Swapna Avastha radically changes. It is a radical transformation of Swapna Avastha. Yes. And how many people get to that? Very few. You might be able to count them on your fingers in the world. Even get to that point, the beginning of transformation. They are just doomed in Swapna Avastha. Whole of humanity is locked up inside Swapna Avastha. And they cannot get out of it. They don't know how will someone get out of that? Because it requires so much awareness that we want out of the prison of Swapna Avastha. And without that awareness, it will not happen. Then one is just rolling around blindly in this sansar, nothing else. After the Pancha Vishayas, Shabda, Sparsha, Roop, Ras, Gandh. These are the 5 Vishayas from the 5 sense organs, and the person is running blindly in them. Blindly in the sense running after their experiences more and more. So what is happening? The Swapna Avastha is created to deal with the onslaught of that experience and see the mysteries of it. It is so powerful how it is created because of ichha, because of desires. I've given this example before also, that if you love eating a vegetable pizza from Pizza Hut and you give it up for 6 months, 8 months, at some point you might have if you like it and you have given it up, even deliberately given it up, but the desire is still there. What does the Gita say? Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha rasavarjam rasopesya param drushtva nivartate. We know what will happen? You will have a dream. A person will have a dream with that slice of pizza, maybe sitting in the restaurant, actually enjoying that slice of pizza, eating that pizza will show up at nighttime. Amazing. There are psychiatric medications or even other kinds of muscle relaxers and whatnot. If you take them, you will have dreams of smelling foods and eating foods and all this thing. Many medicines create this kind of thing. Doctors will know more about that. Why? Because it's stimulating those parts of the brain, but it's more than that. It's not just a stimulation of the brain. It has to do with the fact that we want those things somewhere along the line. How much do we want? Endless amount. That is called causal body, Karan Sharir. There is no end to how much the Jivatma wants. How much is enough? It's never enough. Nothing is ever enough. There's always something more that comes up. If you have one small car, you want a bigger one. If you get the bigger one, you want something better. You want some change. It goes on. It goes on and on and on and on and on. It keeps changing like this. That's the nature of Prakriti. Even with food items, we may be satisfied and then hunger comes up again. We want something different, something this, something that. How much is enough? There's no amount that is enough. Ever. For anything. And then we say that we are satisfied. That satisfaction is temporary. Something new comes up. These are all the entanglements in Mahamaya. This desire for something new again and again and again in the world of Prakriti is the massive prison of Maya. Person remains in that jail without realizing it's a jail. So what Vivek Chudamani is saying, yes, you have to live in the world, come to a stability, realize that running in this world, after this world further and further, is like it's like blindly running inside a forest faster to try to get out of that. Person is already blind, now they're running faster inside there. This is the situation of every Jivatma, except for a few enlightened people. Aisi baat hai, that's a fact. But so when one awakens with Viveka, one doesn't disturb the sansar, but one recognizes that running in this sansar blindly is the number one mistake. There is no greater mistake than that. And when a person makes that mistake, everything else is a mistake also. And that leads to millions of lifetimes, rebirth upon rebirth upon rebirth. But if you stop that one mistake, that no, the sansar is there to move in like a lion, as we mentioned yesterday. Not as a victim of the three gunas of Maya, not as a bound being as the three gunas of Maya, not as a poor being running with inward poverty, trying to fulfill these internal demands of the mind. When that transformation occurs into Atma Tattvam, as Shankaracharya ji is saying, when that tremendous transformation occurs, one is living in Atmic consciousness, Brahmic consciousness. And there is tremendous strength there. Kitni Shakti hai? Ananta Shakti. Not a limited amount, no. Bhagwan ki Ananta Shakti hamari paas hai. Not as a me, but it is connected there. There's no boundary there. There's no limitation there. And the whole sansar is seen as just a bubble-like feature. It is there. We are part of it. We are living in it. Yes, we acknowledge it. We do our part in that. It is a bubble. It is going to pop. This body is a bubble. Every human being is a bubble. Every animal is a bubble. The Brahmand is a bubble. The whole Brahmand of the 14 lok, that also gets destroyed, the 4 pralayas. So that is Param Vairagya. And in that Param Vairagya, there is living a liberated life. Living a life of absolute, uncontaminated love. That uncontaminated love for all. Not for few, without any boundary. Love without boundary is parabhakti. Parabhakti. God is not confined to the temples or to the churches or the mosques or the scriptures or anything like that, or to particular gurus. God is everywhere, in everyone, in everything, at all times, in every situation. That state of realization of parabhakti, param love, param prema, Paramakrupa. Such a state of bhakti, such a realization of bhakti is the ultimate glory of human life. It is the biggest blessing for the world. Otherwise, the people are trapped. Everybody, top to bottom, everybody is trapped. And top to bottom meaning from Brahmaji all the way up to the bacteria cell. Now, how can we say Brahmaji is trapped? We cannot understand that. Brahmaji also lives 100 years and Brahmaji is gone after 100 years. Because that is the Ishvara. The Ishvara Koti is called Kotan Koti Ishvaras. It's a metaphysical subject. It begins at Brahmaji. But Bhagwan Vishnu and Bhagwan Shankar are not part of the 14 lokas. The 14th lok is Satya Lok. And that is where Brahmaji resides. And that Brahmaji also goes away. That body of the Brahma also goes away. But Brahmaji's 1 second is our 660 years. So Brahmaji opens his eyes one time and closes in 1 second, open eye. All these 660 years go. In 1 second. So many lokas are coming and going. That is from where we are, that would be considered to be like the supreme God. But it's not. Even beyond Brahmaji, there is Virat Narayan. Aisi sab alaukik baat hai sab. And so there's that, that pictorial depiction from the Bhagwan Vishnu, that is a Virat Purush, from the Nabhi Kamal, that stalk came and then the Brahmaji is sitting on the lotus. The Brahmaji wanted to find out where I came from, where Brahmaji came from, where this, to discover the end point of that stalk. I'm just mentioning this here, and we'll get back to the Swapna Avastha thing in just a moment. Brahmaji walked for 50 of his years on that stalk, 50 of his years, and could not even find Virat Purush. Itni par baat hai sab. That is how tremendous Adhyatma is. And in the human body, through the human body, all of this realization up to the supreme Parabrahma Paramatma is possible. But what is human being doing with the body? Wasting it, nothing other than that. Destroying it, wasting it, using it in a very minimal way for small things, creating damage to oneself and to others, and not realizing the technology of how to evolve. But once we realize this, that pay attention on our experience, get our life completely in sync, get out of the vortex of Swapna Avastha. That Swapna Avastha is a type of madness. There's no other word for that. And it is a massive problem actually, because there are worlds upon worlds created inside the dream state. Kitni vichitra baat hai. It is so crazy actually. So to stabilize that is the hallmark of Adhyatmic realization. To stabilize Swapna Avastha. If we keep our attention on cleaning up the Swapna Avastha, we will discover the doorway into enlightenment. Because the human being is overrun by that. All right, so what do we do? What are the steps to take? Again, the steps to take, there are very clear guidelines in the scriptures. There are clear guidelines in psychology also, and in sleep research. There are clear guidelines all the way. I'll give you a summary of what they are. Number 1, wake up before sunrise. Wake up at 4:30 or 5 o'clock regularly. If you wake up at 5 o'clock or anytime between 4:30 and 6, if you wake up anytime between that, before sunrise, that is the first and most important thing, is not to stay in that state of dreaming and kind of not completely awake, not completely asleep in that early morning time. That early morning time is called Brahma Muhurt. It is a divine time. And those who wake up at 4 o'clock every day, by the way, there's a research that shows that most of the billionaires and the multimillionaires and the people who have achieved high, they wake up at 4 o'clock. Anybody who wakes up at 4 o'clock consistently for 6 months, you will clean up the Swapna Avastha naturally. But we are so attached to the sleeping and tiredness and this and that. That's there because the mind is catching up. It requires maybe 2 weeks to say I'm going to wake up at 4 o'clock or 4:30 and that's it. Come what may. And when you wake up that early, then you sit for dhyan. You sit for meditation, do your exercises. You sit for meditation at that time, up to like 6:30. And then the day continues. Now, if you need to take a little nap in the afternoon, no problem. That's not a big deal. That nap will also be a yogic nap. But waking up early as possible is very, very good. This is the number one point. Now you see what the steps are. After waking up, taking a shower, immediately do the morning puja. Don't do anything else. If you need to eat something, maybe that's fine. It's okay if it's because of depending on energy level, etc. To balance this out. But morning puja has to be done. Absolutely, there's no exception to that. See, this is how you clean up the Swapna Avastha. Morning puja is done for half an hour, 20 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever time is available. Do that. But without break. Not to break the routine. You'll see if you do a morning puja for even 10 minutes, but if you say, I'm going to do it every day without break, that will build the force. That will build discipline inside the mind. Now, from there, our day-to-day activity, we have breakfast, we have other things we're doing. Again, living through the whole day with a predetermined schedule, what we want to do throughout the whole day, what is the experience we want, what are the things we are planning on doing, and on that basis to do them without energy damage. Not to damage energy in any activity during the waking time by overthinking something, by worrying about something or other, by bringing old stuff back. No, not at all. Have the tenacity and the courage to stay in the present. And when there is free time, as the Shikshapatri Agnya, Bhagwan Swami Narayan, what did he say? Vyartaha kalena netavyo bhaktim bhagavato vina. Don't waste time. Bhagwan ke bhakti mein lag jao. Manan, chintan, shastra patan, naam ratan, whatever. Bhagwan ke saath connection mein lag jao. We do other things, maybe watch some news, maybe watch some show, but even if you do other things that are worldly related, do it with a spiritual vision, see it with a divine vision, then it is just a play. It won't impact that much. It will still impact to some extent. It's like that. And so the waking time is filled with balanced energy, good quality experience, good diet, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and that food that is eaten as a fuel for connection with Bhagwan, with God. It's a fuel to connect with God. It is not a fuel for vasanas. If it is used as a fuel for vasana, then that is going to degrade the energy. You're basically purchasing the experience of pleasure, which comes with certain amount of pain, etc. It is purchasing pleasure, purchasing that through asanas. So it is a matter of detecting where energy is going. And that detection in the daytime, hour to hour, minute to minute, moment to moment. Oh, this energy is going. My mind is going here, or I'm thinking this way, or I'm watching some violent thing on the TV. No. This is having this kind of impact. One becomes continuously aware, and one decides what is the quality of experience in the daytime. This is the one thing we have actual control over. To decide the kind of experiences we want, who we are talking to, what we are talking about, what we are contemplating on, what we are reading, what we are studying, what we are doing throughout the whole day, and where is the force of desires, the force of desires of all kinds, and then where is that taking me? What is the experience I am looking for? Where is my ego in this? This is all antarik satsang. It is antardrishti. This is how we get to the Swapna Avastha. The Swapna Avastha is cleaned up this way. And then as time goes on throughout the day, you will notice the changes in the body, the changes in the state of mind. The state of mind changes. Sometimes it becomes Rajoguni. Sometimes it becomes Tamoguni. Sometimes it becomes Satvoguni. It changes the three gunas you can see in the waking state. And in that, to decide what is the range of experience to have so that one by the time the day ends, where you're ready to go to sleep, the feeling is one is resting, one is resting inside the Swarup of Parabrahma Paramatma. Not resting in the three gunas of Maya or the content of psychological consciousness. Not in that. There's a Vachanamrut, Garada Pratham 32, Mara and Akhila nu Vachanamrut. Maharaj gave this, you see, Maharaj at that time, he's giving examples from that time, right? And he's looking at nature. Simple examples are there. Just like you have a bird nest. Bird nest is there. So the bird, what do the birds do? They go the whole day outside looking for food, and they're interacting with whatever they're doing, their activity throughout the whole day. But at the night time, where do they come? They come back to the nest to rest. Isn't it so? So Maharaj gave that example. We perform activity during the Jagrat Avastha all the way through. We perform all kinds of activity. But that activity is performed the way we just talked about it, without energy damage. And once it is performed that way, the resting is inside the nest. What is that nest? That nest is Bhagwan. Bhagwan ka Swarup. Bhagwan ki bhakti. So even one is resting, one is deeply connected with God. We're deeply connected in devotion to Ishtadevata. One is deeply connected with the Antarik Shakti. And that so that connection that remains at nighttime, if it begins to open, if it remains, that means one is making really good progress. One is in the right direction. So the mind is not playing with its old mixtures of the content. It is connected with Bhagwan. So there's a great silence, steadiness. There's a great yogic state. And as you go further, the activity of the mind is not there. So the Swapna Avastha, when it does come about, it is no longer the usual Swapna Avastha. The dreams that may come, these are divine dreams. You begin to see different forms of gods and different temples and all kinds of amazing things that you had never imagined before. Plus you will see, it's called Alokik Anubhav. You might see different lokas. You can see the Swarga Loka. You can see all kinds of transcendental phenomena that will appear. It is still intermediary, but the quality of the dreams is jumped tremendously. It's no longer stuck in playing around with the material of this world anymore. Aisi baat hai. This is what can happen. Now, this is where sadhana comes into play. When we are trying to connect with Bhagwan through bhajan, kirtan, manan, chintan, the more we connect that way, the more the mind remains there, and then the Swapna Avastha changes. The Swapna Avastha changes beautifully. So then at night time, there are devotees throughout the world, and I've heard lots of stories of these types also. They look forward to go to sleep at night because of usme sab alokik darshan hota hai. Imagine what is that thing? That is the mystery. Wo Bhagwan ki krupa hai, by the grace of God, the divinity shows up in thousands of different ways. When a yogi has evolved, when a bhakta has evolved in this way. And then even after all of that, still the Atma realization is still remaining. That the Atma realizes who it is, what it is. And when you realize the Atma, that is the Soham, that is Shiva, that is Bhagwan is residing there. That cannot be described. There's no real way to describe that. That's beyond language, beyond thought. That is an existence itself. There's no way to talk about that, really. Some of these descriptions are mind-boggling descriptions. Infinite Brahmand are revolving, spinning around the Atma. Around your Atma, around you only. Infinite universes are spinning around the Atma. Think about that. And that kind of realization can happen when one begins to move ahead. And even that is an intermediate stage. So there are there are further developments, but from where we are, the attention placed on fixing the damage in our life right now, that is the number one priority. And the biggest indicator of this damage is Swapna Avastha. That's why people take sleeping pills and so much medication is there. Why is that? There's so much medication prescribed because of the tensions and worries and chaos and to shut it off somehow. But it is artificial. It's not really shutting anything off. That is a fact. So it is a realization, where am I? What am I doing? What is happening in my life? And to build this life. Now, there's one more thing I want to say before we close for today. And that is that before going to bed, it is good to do good half an hour, bhajan, kirtan, manan, chintan. So you should be ready to go to sleep where you're feeling physically tired. Sometimes people are not physically tired, so they cannot sleep also. Then they're just watching stuff on TV or something like that, and that's it. The life was over like that. But those who are interested in spiritual evolution would not waste so much time and just accumulate more just garbage inside the mind. What they will do, they'll sit with bhajans, manan, chintan, Bhagwan ki bhakti mein lag jao. Don't waste time. Main point hai ye. So before going to sleep, if 1 hour bhajan, kirtan, manan, chintan is done before going to sleep and you're about to fall asleep, fantastic. And you wake up, then you'll wake up naturally at 4:30, 5 o'clock. The amount of time at night time is 6 hours. 5, 6, maybe 7 hours at the most, not more than that. And it'll excellent quality experience. The body will get its rest. And in that rest, these flashes of spiritual experiences occur. Not the chaos of the Swapna Avastha. That is the evolution from inside out, a yogic evolution, a devotional evolution. And then as as the bigger saints, as greater saints have been present, they are continuously connected with Bhagwan. So they're doing their whatever work they have to do, but their connection is not lost. And you know what happens? In the Gita it says this, in Swamini Vato and so many other places it is written, that when a devotee decides that I want to connect with Bhagwan, God takes care of everything else. He'll give you yoga kshema bhahamim, meaning what? The environment, the circumstances, the people, the sangha, this, that. And whatever you need to enhance that connection, Bhagwan itself or himself, we can just say for now, God himself takes charge of that to make sure that the devotee connects with God. And all the other obstructions are removed. It is an infallible truth. Once a person decides, Bhagwan ka sakshatkar karna hai, once you decide that, you see the magic that happens. वो एक अनुभव का प्रश्न है, वो भक्ति का प्रश्न है, and you see that Bhagwan changes things around you so that you can connect with God. You can completely connect with God. All the obstructions are removed so that singular connection can happen. Enough food, water, clothing, shelter, whatever you need, it will come to you. It will be available for you through your job, through this. Somehow it will come, and then you'll be able to spend more and more time in sadhana. And that can happen in retirement life also. People will be retired at the age of 60, 55, 60, 75, I don't know, whatever they retire. If they have lived a very nice life, by the time the sannyas ashram comes, you are just connected with Bhagwan. That's it. Who's going to come with us? What is going to come with us? Nobody's going to come with us. Nothing is going to come with us except our bhakti. That's all. This sharir to ek nashwar vastu hai. It's changing constantly. It's going to be turn to ash only. Nothing else. What else will remain in that? So as the age progresses, one becomes aware of one's mortality. There's crematories and all these things that are there. And funeral homes, people, when we drive our car, we pass all the time. We should say, that everybody has to go there one day. So before going there, let's develop this unbroken connection with God. Let's do it once and for all. This Jivatma has done everything for millions of lifetimes except this. Has done everything except this unbroken connection with Bhagwan. The adhyatmic realization is the only thing that is not done. And so if once a person decides, to do this, you see the grace of Bhagwan. See what happens. You'll find out yourself. Each person will find out himself or herself. It's a decision to say, we want to stay inside the Swarup of Bhagwan and still do all our regular activity. But this is the main thing. And in staying in that Swarup, continue our day-to-day routine. This is how Swapna Avastha is cleaned up. And then we'll get to Sushupti Avastha next time. We'll talk more about that. There's much more to be said about this. And then we'll talk about the Sakshi within the Sushupti Avastha, what that's all about, how that actually works. We'll get into all those things later on. All right, so we'll do the Mantra Pushpanjali now.